Lapo, thanks for joining us. We have not got to the debacle in Edmonton last night. You're joining us just in time. CFL and TSN's Paul LaPolice with us. You may have seen we're talking about Nathan Rourke here. And I'm not going to ask what you think he should do, although you can dabble in that if you want. What do you think he will do, as he's now free to sign anywhere as of today, I'm told?
I think he had a couple roster opportunities last year. So, I'm sure as a young player, it's not like he has, I know he's newly married, he doesn't have kids. Like, I think he's in a good place where he can hold out. He doesn't have to go, all right, I'm just going to come back for money. I think the opportunity and the ability for him to keep holding off for an opportunity is most important. And the weird part of all this is you never get the opportunity till there's injuries. So, you never know how that's going to play out. So I think he's probably going to stay available the rest of the season and try to see what's out there, because he can always sign next season if he just doesn't get a good feel from now until December, January. So I think he stays out and just keeps his irons in the fire for the NFL. And that's the thing. The hard part, I think sometimes we all know how good these players are. But I don't know if the New York Giants sometimes say, well, how do they not play this guy? Well, I think what people have to understand, the organization New York Giants probably reached out, and they basically, in college, they had 5 people evaluate Nathan Rourke, and they have a decision on what they think. I think just because he went up to the CFL and had a great year, I don't know if that changes too much on what they think, right or wrong. But I just kind of think they have the guys they like. And they said, we've evaluated this guy already. We don't know if he's our fit. I wish they would maybe take more of what happens in the CFL, because you see a lot of guys go down and are very successful, but it's just sometimes not how they're wired.
Interesting you say that, and 2, 3, 4 heads are better than one. I believe that to be true. I never looked at it from that angle. I was expecting, and I think that the fans are, that he would sign somewhere at any point. And that could still happen, as you say, but maybe he's just going to wait for the best opportunity because he can. I see it in the NHL all the time now, Paul, and this is how the game's changed because the money's become so good. Players aren't signing somewhere because they need the money. Nathan Rourke don't need the money. There's NHL players now that are holding out as free agents until, into the second half of the season, signing the best opportunity for them. You're not signing somewhere coming out of training. It's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, and the other thing is the practice squad money for the NFL is really good too now. So, if he gets back on a practice squad, he's going to be okay. It's certainly not what he's going to make as one of the highest paid players in the CFL, but, he's got time to figure that out and exhaust the opportunities of playing in the United States. And as a guy who played in Division I football, what's funny is the pull of that is huge for a guy who played Division I football. All his teammates and friends that you're like, hey, I know you're doing great in the CFL, but when are you going to the NFL? Like when I started coaching the CFL, people would always say, hey, do you want to coach in the NFL? I'm like, yeah, I'm happy where I'm at right now. And here's the point. I almost tweeted this player or person. Somebody did an article about Nathan Rourke, and it was somebody in the U.S., and he said that now that he's in the pros, he needs to do this or this. And I wanted to write him back and go, no, he was in the pros. The CFL is professional football. So let's not forget that. And that was something like when I first came into the league, like Jeff Fairholm, let's talk about a former, a great player and Rough Rider. He used to correct me all the time when I said that. He goes, hey, buddy, CFL is the pros. And that's what I think sometimes people forget.
Good old Fairway, my favorite Rough Rider ever. Now, we can come back on this, but point 3, you showed up just in time, Lapo. Bo Levi Mitchell threw for 316 yards and 5 touchdowns as the visiting Hamilton Tiger Cats blitzed the winless Edmonton Elks 44-28 on Sunday. Ticats, who started the CFL season 0-5, have now won 2 straight. The Elks slipped 0-7. Edmonton backup quarterback Trey Ford threw for 121 yards and 3 touchdowns in less than a quarter of relief. Cue the controversy in Edmonton. I'm saying it's garbage time. You all know that. Although he still will probably start this week at Edmonton. What was your take on the way that game ended last night and where the Elks go from here, please?
Let's start with Bo Levi Mitchell, though. if they continue to win football games, all of a sudden he comes right into the player of the year conversation. Like he's done a lot of excellent things, and the defense the last couple of weeks has gotten better. They were facing one of the worst defenses in the CFL, but that doesn't matter. You play who you play, and he threw 5 touchdowns, had a great completion percentage. So, like his play, and I love that it's not just about Bo. There's also a run game there. There's 98 yards rushing, I think, for Butler last night. So, I think they can build and continue to get better and better and better each week. You can call it garbage time because beat down yards people talk about. Our friend Dunnigan says that all the time. But the weird part of it, like, I get it's beat down time, but like you just don't see plays that, like, the 3 of the plays Trey made, doesn't matter whether it was beat down time or the starters, right? And he was going against Casey Sales and they were going against some of their starters. So not Casey Sales, but they're going against some of their starters. So you have to respect what Trey did at that point. I really think that, like there's got to be a way to get him more playing. And, whatever's going with Mac, Mac can complete passes, he can do things, but he just hasn't created the explosives that Trey can. The weird thing, here's a weird stat about Trey. Last year, as a deep ball passer, Edmonton was one of the best deep ball passes in the CFL. Why? Because Trey escapes, and then the coverage breaks down, and people become wide open, and he can just spot the ball. Where the difference with Bo Levi, McLeod Bethel Thompson is McLeod, they have to get the people open. They have to move the people out of the zones. He has to locate the ball accurately. All those things have to be perfect, and the protection has to hold up. So there's just a difference in style of the two guys. So, I've said early in the year, I like the signing of McLeod, but we are so many games in with losses and losses and losses. So where do you go? Do you give Trey more time, or do you make Trey the starter? Because he has been. That was pretty productive, or at least just give him a game and see where he is. And there's no reason you can't go back to the other guy because, they're just not winning. And you can't really tell McLeod, we're just not winning. So, like, we're going to try something else. I think that has to.
Plus, McLeod.
There has to be
Macbeth's. Yeah, I mean, I'm no quarterback guru, but I'm watching. I got eyes. And Macbeth's throwing passes into the dirt over guys' heads. Like, he doesn't even look into it. He doesn't look like he's got it. Whatever's going on there, I don't know. Let's just play this. I'm only going to keep you 2 more minutes, Lapo. If you're coaching Edmonton and you are going into Sask Saturday night, who are you starting at quarterback?
I always say this. It's very hard for me when I'm not in every meeting and everything to make that determination, right? But I do think, I would think that Trey Ford is a part of your package. Whether he's starting, there could be a lot of big reasons to start him because of a really good team that can stop the run. Why not put him in a position to be able to, you're not going to be able to run the ball against the Riders. So, put Trey Ford in, let him run around and let him be the impact player because, the Riders are the best against the run in the CFL. So you're going to have to throw the ball. Now, McLeod is a great thrower. So how do there's a trade-off on both of those, right? And the hard part is it's one half of a game, but weeks ago, everyone, if you remember, McLeod Bethel Thompson against Toronto a couple weeks ago looked like the best quarterback in the CFL. So I'll say this, it's a difficult decision. Some people say, it's no brainer, just play Trey, but I think I'm happy I'm not making that decision. Right? But I do think Trey Ford, I think he has to get more playing time. However that plays out, if not, at least give him a game and see what he can do because they are just sitting with loss after loss after loss.
At this point, what do you got to lose? All right, Lapo, clearly you're a busy guy. Thanks for finding some time for us. Have a great week. We'll be watching for you this weekend.
All right. Yeah, I'll see you. I'll be in studio on the weekend. I'm doing color in Calgary on Sunday, my first color of the year. So I'm excited.
Outstanding. We'll be watching. Thanks, Lapo. CFL on TSN's Paul LaPolice.